Hello and welcome to day 6 of 30 days of Photoshop. Today is all about layer masks, which will allow you to hide or show any part of a layer in Photoshop. So we're going to be creating a composite photograph today. We're going to be cutting a subject out of their background using layer masks and then building our background and putting it all back together again. So we're going to start off in Photoshop. Let's go ahead into our subject.jpg. We're going to click and drag this into Photoshop, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our mountains. Let's click and drag those in too. And we're going to take our clouds and click and drag those in as well. Fantastic. Now you guys can download all this and follow along totally free. Just click on the link right down below. Okay, first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and take our background layer. I'm going to double click on this and turn it into a regular layer so I can bring it all the way up to the very top. Okay. Now, I want to go ahead and cut my subject out of the background so I can see the mountains and the clouds and everything underneath them. And for that, we're going to be using layer masks. Okay, whenever you're going to use a layer mask, most of the time, it makes sense to make a selection first, and then you can load that selection into your mask. So let's go to the layer with our subject on it. You can see, go ahead and click right here on this layer. Now, in our contextual taskbar, we're going to go to where it says Select Subject. Go ahead and click on that. If you don't see it, no big deal. Simply go up here to Window and then turn on your contextual taskbar. Fantastic. So you can see this made a selection of our subject. And just like we said, whenever you're going to be cutting your subject out of the background, always start with the selection first and then load that selection into the mask. Okay, so we have our selection active. Now here in the contextual taskbar, you're going to see your layer mask icon. Go ahead and click on your layer mask icon. And now you're going to be able to see through your background. And we can see the clouds and the mountains underneath. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this mountains layer right down here on the very bottom and hit C for the crop tool. Let's go ahead and change our crop a little bit to give us a little bit more space. I'm kind of like building my composite image. But basically you can see perfectly through our subject's background because it's masked out. Let's take our mountains. I'm going to hit Control-Command-T and scale this up just a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. And now we can go ahead and bring in our clouds as well. Now, before we bring in our clouds, I'm going to go ahead, let's take our subject and make them invisible. I'm just going to extend this background for the mountains just a little bit. I'm going to use AI to do that. So let's go ahead and hit M for the marquee tool, make a selection right up here, and then go click on Generative Fill, and then click on Generate. All right, this is just a really good tip. Sometimes you like your background image, but you need to like move it a little bit lower and just make more sky. AI is the perfect way to do that. All right, so here we go. Everything is generating. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take these two layers and just merge them together again. You can make a smart object if you wanted. In this case, I'm going to hit Control-Command-E and merge those all together. And we can see we have a really nice set of layers. Okay, so we have our subject now. We have our clouds now, and we have our background layer. So the subject is already cut out from the background. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with our clouds. So let's go to the clouds. We're going to hit Control-Command-T and then scale up the clouds a little bit. There we go, and hit Enter, and we're going to move those up. So now with our clouds, I need these to only be visible in the sky of this layer. So again, just like we did with our subject where we went Select Subject first and then loaded a layer mask, now we're going to go to Select Sky and then load into a layer mask. So start with your selection and then you can use a layer mask. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on this layer where the sky is located. We're going to go to Select and then down here to Sky. Perfect. Now our sky is selected. We can go ahead and click on this clouds layer. And then with our clouds layer selected, and you can see we still have the selection of our sky active, we're going to go ahead and click on our layer mask for the clouds. Fantastic. Now this looks pretty good, but you can see it doesn't really look like it's blending that well together. So we're going to change the layer blend mode from normal. We're going to go down here to screen. Fantastic. And you can see that looks a little bit better. So now I have all of my layers put together. I have my subject, I have my clouds, and I have my background. Now these clouds, I just need to make them a little bit darker. So let's go ahead and click on the clouds and hit Control-Command-L for our levels. And we're going to make them a little bit darker and they're just going to kind of blend in and show up a little bit better. Fantastic. And this is looking really good. Okay, so now you can see we have our subject and we have a layer mask for our subject. We have the clouds and a layer mask for the clouds. And then we have our background layer. Let's just go ahead and collapse this. So let's talk about a few different options for viewing your layer masks and how layer masks actually work. A layer mask basically will hide or show any part of a layer based on whether it's light or dark. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first layer mask. Now you can see, you can select a layer by simply clicking on the layer. You'll see a white icon around it, or you can select a mask and you'll see a white icon around the mask. Now, first thing we're going to do is hold Alt or Option and click on that layer mask. So white areas are going to be visible and then black areas are going to be invisible on the layer mask. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of our options for the masks. We're going to hit Alt or Option and click here on the mask, and we have our options right up here in our contextual taskbar. So I could subtract from my mask at any point in time. This is basically going to give me a brush tool where I could subtract from the mask. I'm going to hit Control-Command-Z to undo that. I can add to the mask, and I can simply paint around my background if I wanted to. Control-Command-Z to undo that. I have my mask properties here. I can adjust my density, which will allow us to see through the mask, and I have my feathering, which I can basically soften the edge of the mask as well. Now here you can see Select and Mask. We're going to get into that in just a second. Let's go ahead and bring that down. Here you can see turning your mask off and on, so I could see what my layer looks like originally. There we are. And I have my other view where I could see on layers. I could see black and white, which is the same thing as holding Alt or Option and clicking on your layer mask. Or we can see our overlay view as well. All right, let's go here to on layers. So we just talked about select and mask, and that's a really important way of refining the edge of your layer mask. For instance, if I zoom in right here, there we go. We can kind of see the border around our subject. I see a little bit of the background. I see some of the sky, and it doesn't really look that realistic. The edge is a little bit hard, and it doesn't look like a great composite. So we're going to go right here to our properties and then go into select and mask. Okay. You can also simply go to select and then down to select and mask. All right. So into our properties and hit select and mask. Now, in this case, what I want to do is I want to make my edge a little bit softer. Okay. And I want to bring that in a little bit as well. So on the right-hand side, go ahead and open up your global refinements. Here's where we're going to bring up our feathering. Now, feathering makes the edge a little bit softer. There we are. And then here I can shift my edge in or out. You can see if it's too far out, we can see a lot of the background. As I shift this edge in, now we can't see the background and our composite looks a lot better. Okay, let's go ahead and hit OK there. Now this looks pretty good, except for let's go up to the very top to where we see these feathers. And honestly, this is not bad, but I think the feathers could look a little bit better. So we're gonna go back into select and mask and show you how to work with like these refined details like feathers and hair. So back in my properties, we're going to go to select and mask again. And then here we're going to use the refine edge brush tool. And I simply paint on the refine edge brush tool. And you're going to see I have a lot more detail with the feathering. Basically, I'm bringing back all this detail and it's going to look a lot more realistic. And we can do this around the fur and things like that around our subject. There we go. Let's go ahead and make our brush a little bit smaller using the open and close brackets and all this fur and stuff like that. You can see I'm getting a lot more detail in these fine areas. Now, one thing that you might notice once you do this is now I can start to see a little bit of the background color. So we're going to go to where it says output settings. I'm going to turn on decontaminate colors, and it's actually going to kind of fix that for me as well. So here we can see we have a beautiful layer mask. We've decontaminated the colors as well. You even have a slider here so you can kind of choose how much or how little you'd like there. And our layer mask is beautiful at this point. Now, if you turn on decontaminate colors, it's going to have you put this into a new layer with a new layer mask. That's okay. Let's hit OK there and see how that looks. So here's the before. Okay, this is without the refine edge brush tool and without decontaminating colors. You can see the feathers just don't look that great. And here in the after, it looks much, much better. All right, so let's go ahead and delete that layer and we're good to go. So our subject is really well cut out now, and it's kind of like looking like we have an actual composite. So our layer masks are a really, really big help. The next thing I want to show you is the relationship between a layer and a layer mask. By default, they're going to move together, but you can actually change that and you can have one move without the other. We're going to go ahead and turn off our subject real quick and take a look at our sky. Basically, just these clouds. By default, you have your layer and you have your mask, and they're going to have this little chain link between them. So if I grab my move tool and I move a layer, you're going to see the mask moves with it as well. I can see all of the mountains, outline, things like that. So the layer and the mask will always move together by default. Now, if I unclick on this chain link, then I can click here on my layer, and now I can just move the sky. In fact, I can hit Control or Command T, I can scale the sky up, and my mask is going to stay in the exact same place. Or I can click here on the mask, and now I can move the mask, but the sky stays in the same place. This is really helpful if you do, for instance, a mask like this where you define where you want it to be, but you still want to maybe move your clouds around. All you have to do is unlink the two, and you're good to go. And it's decent practice at the end when you have it where you want it to go ahead and link those two back together again. So now that I have my background together again, I want to go ahead and apply a lens blur. It's going to help this look a little bit more realistic. So we have our subject turned on, and we can see, like, this area is a little bit out of focus, and the background should be out of focus as well, right? It doesn't make sense that parts of our subject are out of focus and then the background is perfectly in focus. That really doesn't make sense. So let's go ahead and take our clouds and our generative fill layer. I'm going to shift click the two of those layers. So our complete background, we're going to go to layer, down to smart objects, and then convert that to a smart object. So now our entire background is one smart object. I can turn this off or on at any point in time. And if I double click here on the smart object, I can go in and you can see I can turn these layers off and on and move them around. Okay, I don't need to save that. Let's go ahead and get out of there. What I want to do is apply a blur on this, and we want to use the lens blur that's built into Camera Raw. So go ahead and click on this layer. You can see it's a smart object. We're going to go to Filter. We're going to go down to where it says Camera Raw Filter. There we go. And Camera Raw Filter, here we're on the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and apply our lens blur. There we go. Now, the lens blur is really cool. Let's just turn off our visualize depth real quick. It's really cool because it'll analyze the depth in your photograph and try to blur the faraway objects. But in this case, because it's all behind our subject, I basically just want all of this to be completely blurred the same. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn on visualize depth. There we go. I'm going to click on blur, and I can paint in the amount of blur. So here my focal range, let's go ahead and contract this and bring this right over here. And then for my blur settings, I can simply paint in this area, and all this will be completely blurred as long as I have my blur amount all the way up to 200. There we are. And let's use our space bar to kind of navigate around our image. And I want to make sure that all of this gets completely blurred. Fantastic. That's looking really good. And now I'm going to turn off visualize depth, and we can see I can change my blur amount, and it's going to blur my entire background at the same time. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit OK there. And it's going to apply right here onto the smart object. And we can see the background now has a really nice blur to it. The cool thing here is because we combined the clouds and the mountains into the same smart object, they're both getting blurred in the same way with that lens blur. So they're both going to be behind our subject, and that now looks a lot more realistic. Now, if you decide, hey, maybe I blurred that a little bit too much, that's not a big deal. Just double click right here on Camera Raw Filter, and then you can choose to have less blur in your image, but you might need to repaint. If I go to visualize depth here, you're going to need to repaint that. It's a little bit annoying that you have to do this each time, but in this case, I just want all of this to be blurred the same. So we're hit OK, and there we go, back, and we have a less blur on our background. I think this looks really, really good. So we have our clouds, which is the composite that we use layer mask, and then we have our subject, which is used layer mask as well. So now getting more into masking, we've used masks on our subject layers, but I want to show you how you can use masks on adjustment layers as well. And to do this, we're going to bring a little bit more attention to our subject by creating a vignette effect. So what we're going to do is go ahead and rearrange some of our panels real quick. I'm going to bring my adjustments right over here, dock it, and then we're going to take our properties and I'm going to dock that right down there so I can see my adjustments and my properties and my layers all at the same time. Okay, now to start with, let's go ahead and go to brightness/contrast. I'm going to create a brightness contrast adjustment layer, and we're going to bring our brightness up in our properties window. Now, we're going to take our contrast down. I think that's going to look a little bit better. By default, you can see this is visible everywhere, but let's say I just want this to be visible into the center of our image for this vignette effect. So I'm going to click here on our layer mask, and we're going to be using our gradient tool. So let's go ahead and click on the gradient, make sure it says gradient up there. Here, we're going to go ahead and choose in our basic editor, we want the black to white gradient, and I'm going to use my radial gradient. And I'm going to click and drag here from the center out. There we go, just like that. And as you can see, that loads the gradient into my layer mask. And I can turn this off and on, and you can see that center is now just a little bit brighter. Okay, I can click here and I can change my gradient at any time by clicking and dragging. There we go. That looks really good. Okay, let's go ahead and make one more of these. I'm going to go click on brightness and contrast again. Okay, this time we're going to bring our brightness down. We're going to bring our contrast down as well. And next on my layer mask, I'm going to do basically the same thing, click and drag out. But this time I want to click on reverse. There we go. And now we're going to see this is actually going to darken the edges of our image. So I'm going to just turn these layers both off and then back on. So that's off and then back on. You can see how it kind of makes the composite look a lot more realistic. I'm changing the lighting of the photograph to concentrate the light on my subject, and it kind of brings everything back together again, and we have a much more realistic final look. And again, this is simply done with layer masks. So we have a brightness and contrast adjustment layer, and then through the layer mask, we're controlling visibility. Okay, now my last thing I want to suggest anytime I create a composite image like this, what I really want to do is put a really small gradient map on there that's going to help all the colors blend back together again. Okay, so for our gradient, let's go ahead and click here in our adjustments. We're going to click on gradient map. Okay, now here in the gradient map, let's go ahead to one of these blues. I don't know what I'm going to pick just yet, but the whole thing with the gradient map, sometimes you need to click on reverse. If it looks really weird, just click on this reverse icon, by the way. The big thing with gradient maps is you don't want your opacity to be 100%. You want your opacity to be usually around 10 to 20%. So let's go ahead and just click and drag that opacity down, something like 10%. And this is just going to color your entire image. It's going to color your subject. It's going to color your background. It's going to color everything. And it'll help kind of unify the colors of a composite. Because again, remember, we put this guy onto a brand new background. So we want to make sure all the colors really flow well together. And there we go. Something like this. I think that actually looks pretty good. So turning this off and on, you can see all the colors like really look a lot better now. And it helps that composite look realistic. So you can see our layer mask is fantastic. All this detail here with the feathers here, we can see this is really nice. Our background has this really nice lens blur on it, and the colors look good. And of course, at any point in time, I can simply turn all this off and on and see how our composite looks. So all of this was done with layer mask. So we can see by clicking on any layer mask, you can change your density and feathering. Don't forget select and mask is a really big one. But if I want to, I can hold shift and click on my layer mask, and I can bring my original image back at any point in time. So I haven't lost any detail from my original image. I have my layer mask as a tool that I can use, but the image remains intact. I haven't actually deleted anything. So I can turn this on, simply re-enable my layer mask, turn all these layers on that have their own layer masks, go ahead and save this out as a PSD that you can download, by the way. I'm going to close this out and then open this back up here in Photoshop, and you can see all of my layer masks are intact. So this is an amazing way to non-destructively edit your images and create composite photos without destroying any image data. Now, we didn't do this too much today, but you can also use a mask on a group or a text layer or a smart object. Basically, any type of object you have in Photoshop, you can create a mask to control your visibility. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, we're talking about the difference between curves and levels. I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.